some LCK, shall we, Yamato? Because one, don't worry, there's going to be lots more fan drama. But before we get into that, one of the things that technically set up the latest fan drama in LCK was we had another T1 Gen.G matchup. And this time, I told you on the last episode, if you actually wanted to have the most hype storyline ever for playoffs, you actually sort of low-key needed T1 to win again against Gen.G. Because then the narrative would be, holy fuck, remember, there's only one split this whole year. They don't even count. If T1 wins that, it's all for nothing, all you did this year, Gen.G. All that amazing run, that undefeated. But it didn't happen. In the end, Gen.G won this one. Now, I will say, about before we get to the drama, the reason I'm actually low-key shocked about this drama is, mate, when you watch this series, this was one of the most uncharacteristic series between these two teams I've ever seen played. Like, bro, this series was a 3-game series, and it was like an LPL series, Yamato, because in all 3 games, the winner stomps the loser, and they stomp them from the very beginning of the game. Like, one of the weirdest things about this, you see why I say this is more like an LPL series, not an LCK series? Bro, these teams were playing so aggro in the early levels in the lanes. Like, they were on some, like, solo queue shit where it's like you just tried every weird... Like, the jungler's just going balls deep every time he goes to the fucking bottom of the top lane. Like, they would... And they're doing that thing, like, mate, you even saw it in the 3rd game especially, where, like, they never... This is why it felt like the LPL. They never met a skirmish re-engaged both teams that they didn't like. They just kept like suiciding into each other. And so the joke is part of the reason I even think this was a Giga Stomp. So game 1 was a Giga Stomp for T1. Then the other 2 were Giga Stomps for Gen.G. It's because it's like once one team was slightly behind, they couldn't do the usual LCK thing of like, right, you know, go back to laning, find some small edges, set up for an object. Everyone just like forced another fight. It was actually, here's the thing, it was exciting, but I don't know that this was the best League of Legends I've seen about this. And also, almost every fight I watched, that's why I didn't even talk shit on Twitter to T1 fans. I didn't know Gen.G was going to win these fights. These were those fights where everyone's health bar's like that, and it's just people going across the screen like this. It's not like an old boomeroo like the old League of Legends would hit. It's just champions go like this, and the health bar's go. And at the end, you're supposed to, whoever wins, go calculated. Like, no one fucking knew who was going to win these fights. What did you think of this series, bro? I thought this series was mad. It was like you would have thought for real that like the loser dies at some at the end of this series. They were fighting like crazy, bro. It was nuts.
I don't know. It's weird because it seems it's like what's happening behind the scenes, right? With these two teams, is they've practiced against each other so extensively.
Oh, sure.
So they know each other in ways that are like so intimate at this point, you know, in terms of what they are and how they play. And I do think that there is a level of respect that both teams have towards each other. That when a certain team is ahead, they understand that they are going to be capable of winning, so they're going to look for like opportunities and like squeeze water from stone because they understand like the game state. Because in all 3 games, it was like out of the early game, a team was ahead, and then it kind of finished out. There was definitely like moments where it just went too far. I think in game 1, there was that, I believe, the 3rd Drake that T1 was taking, the 4th Drake of the game, where it's like, oh, Rel died on the engage. And then it's like,
yeah.
And it's like, oh, Rel died. Okay, we give it the dragon. We try to push that top side, put some walls down, maybe something. But they're like, nah, we're gonna fight this. And then 2 people died. And then Ruler extends further. He's like, now we have to fight this. They're fighting 2v4. It's like, there's the point in time where maybe they can relax. It was just very interesting to see. For me, the best part about the series is that I think it really, really showcased how I would basically categorize both teams. I think Gen.G is like in terms of the individual ability and how they choose the skirmishes and how they lane. This is how they win games. Like that Keen performance on the Ambassador that is undefeated, where he's just taking like these 2v3 fights, 1v3 fights, and just doing ridiculous things. Or even in that game, that same game where at first T1, they just coordinated around Zinzao stepping into River and just collapsed on him instantly. That showcases to me like basically how I categorize T1. T1 is just the epitome of like a hive mind. They are so decisive in the decisions they take, where there is, if someone says, I want to fight here, everyone just fucking goes. Like the speed of how fast people collapse from T1 and how fast they TP. There was like moments in that game where the Rise Bard game, which I think is a very clever way to approach Gen.G specifically, because their solo laners like Keen and Chovy are so good at stealing waves, but Bard and Rise ult, of course, just break the game completely in terms of the distance that you cover. But the moment they take decisions, they are very snappy. They commit all the way, no matter how ridiculous it might be or not be. And I think in the end, Gen.G won out because I think the biggest flaw of T1 is that when they play against Gen.G, the further the series is going to go, the more T1 need to stray away from their comfort. Because I think that's the biggest strength and also the weakness is that they lock in the same champions again and again and again.
Yes.
And in games where those champions are good, they stomp the best team, even Gen.G. But in the games where those champions are not good, it's like, sure, you're comfortable on that champ, you can do some crazy stuff on Poppy, but the enemy just is a little bit more flexible and the draft edge just wins out in the end. And I do think T1 can maintain such a high level of individual performance because they take that route. So I respect that daily, of course. But it does come at a cost when a team like Gen.G is capable of that level of flexibility and that level of play on so many different champions. So for me, every time these teams just face up, I think it's so cool that we get to see the strengths and the weakness of both teams.
Like I say, what's so bizarre about that particular series is it feels like a series that had no macro. It was just people fighting all the time. And then, like I say, it really was just like someone would have like 17 kills at like 20 minutes into the game or something. It was just over. Like it's so bizarre. It almost made me feel like Yamato. They've played so many like traditional games at all these international tournaments that are like the usual League of Legends where you do it all right, you group around the objective, then you give it up when it's not the right dragon, then you come back for the one Baron, then you try and flip that, and then you do the right move, you set the lanes up. It's like this one, they just wanted to fight from minute one. They were never letting this go to macro. They were like, whoever wins the early game wins this fucking match. Because what's weird is the reason I set this up, Yamato, is at the end of that series, I'm not saying this is Corp. And by the way, the team I like, Gen.G, won the fucking series. For real, if I'm both teams at the end of that series, I'm like, I don't take any big judgments from that. We both could have won that series. Like, we also, by the way, both could play very differently. We chose to sort of opt into all these fights. And so, yeah, I wouldn't be like super heartbroken I lost that one. By the way, if I'm a T1 fan, we're in a mega position. Like, remember, before the road to MSI, that playoff bracket where they beat Hanwha Life and got to go to MSI, most people thought they were a distant third and that the whole thing in League of Legends was Hanwha Life and Gen.G. After that, combined with MSI, EWC, and then now this run now, T1 has never looked this good this year. Like, they, for real, I mean, about a week ago, they were potentially even the best Korean team that was, which would make you probably the best team in the world since anyone legend had fallen off. Like, if I'm a T1 fan, bro, I wouldn't be out on this team at all. I'd be like, look, we're cooking. Everything's going well. But bizarrely, this one result, like, I get it. There's the thing, mate. I would get if people were getting mad with trucks and stuff like 2 years ago where you had the Porby thing and they're losing every game and everyone looks like shit. I get that. That looks like, wow, we've let the team go to shit. It's Manchester United. What are we doing? We're supposed to be T1. Bro, I don't even understand where this drama's come from. So if people don't know, after this, like a close loss to Gen.G. They've done this thing where instead of trucks, the other protest thing they do is they send wreaths of flowers. Now, people claim, Yamato, that's not supposed to mean like you will die or something. It's supposed to just be like a form of protest. But the problem with that is, I don't really believe Nutter fans. Like, Nutter fans will always say, but it is way, Brazilian fans would say some shit like that when they were like, come to Brazil, which obviously means like, and I'll beat you the fuck up. They'd be like, no, just come and visit. It's really nice. It's like, give me a break. Yeah, all right, Nate, whatever. So anyway, the point is, for some reason, this has caused a drama. And most interestingly of all, as I know people like you and Dom all saw on your streams, it's actually reignited that Smash drama from before. It turns out that within the T1 fan base, there are still these two factions, the Guma fans and then the Smash fans, and even more complicated, it's based on like, one's called like T1 Gallery, and then the other one's called like T1 something at Shooting Gallery or something, whatever it is. There's two versions of it. It's like some civil war. I know exactly. There's even like two forums on DC Inside or whatever. And basically, one of them, it seems like it's the Smash ones, have decided this is the moment to sort of be like, it was only, they do it, by the way, they're really taking the old narrative of Joe Marsh at the beginning of the year, Yamato. They're doing that thing of like, well, Guma's only in there because Joe Marsh was like, that's such an old narrative, but okay. So he's only in there. And I guess because they've lost to Gen.G, they want Smash back in the lineup or something, which is like, here's the funny thing, Yamato. I was pretty big on Smash. I did think he was better than Guma at the beginning of the year, but I think Guma generally has had a pretty good fucking like month and a half at this point. He's had to, you could argue he's like contending for best ADC. He's been very good. Like he's had tons of, by the way, of double-digit kill carry games or games where he gets his champion picks. I want to get your take on this because there's two angles to it. One is like, what do you think of the actual complaint? Like, do you think Smash should get games? And two, what about this fan reaction? Because both, it's one of the rare times where I'm just baffled by it, man. I don't get it. I wouldn't be that down on T1 if I was a T1 fan. I think they're really good placemates.
I think the main thing, I think Gumayusi has been fantastic for the team. It's like, would I say Ruler is better than him? Yeah, I would, but that's
not a diss. That's not a diss.
That's life, Sometimes, somebody's just gonna be better than you, and that's just what happens, Like in the context of his play, I think the main thing that has just changed is that we talked about it many times. Is just Thorin is capable of carrying, everyone's more involved. Gumayusi's, let's say, consistent style. I think like Gumayusi is very risk averse, very good laner that enables carrier, which is super big for them. And then he's very risk averse, but he maintains his CS numbers and he's going to be there to be, the guy that kind of cleans up. Very similar to like Def's role on like the DRX run when they won Worlds. It was pretty much just like, oh, Battle goes and fucks off and does shit. I need to maintain. And then there was those games where it's like, oh, we didn't see Deft for fucking 30 minutes. What was he up to? Oh, damn, he has 3 items and he's just peppering. That's basically like the role of Gumayusi I see on this team. And it works because they've managed to evolve every player into a role that makes sense with that. So I wouldn't want to change anything. The fan reaction, it just seems to be like this continuation, like that stems back from when SKT was sold to T1 and Comcast and so forth.
Got over it, have they?
And it's like the change of like the let's say the conservative esports T1 fan, the SKT fan that didn't want it to be changed, and then it was like that era that was really bad with the decision making, with the coaching staff being fired and the back and forth, because like the beginning was really, really rough. It was really, really bad. And I do think that this year kind of reignited those conversations, because like that PR statement from Joe Marsh is really just giving so much fuel to the fire, because if it wasn't for the framing that he had to step in and put in Gumayusi, there would be no ammunition to these statements. But Gumayusi is like the face now of the bad decision maker that is got hated by this T1 gallery and so forth. So he's just the one catching the flack. And something that I have noticed is that ever since all of this went down and the apology that they did that seemed to be very, let's say, legally fueled, I haven't seen Joe Marsh say anything publicly. It just seems like they made the business decisions like, Joe Marsh, you just need to shut the fuck up and do your job. You're doing great. You signed Faker for 4 years and signed the Saudi deal. We're going to have money for the rest. Oh, fucking lovely. Do that and don't say anything publicly. Good job, and that's what seemed to be working. But this just seems to be like ridiculous fan reaction. And I think if they managed how the decisions were made along the way, then there would be no ammunition to it. But it just seems to be this faction of T1 fans that they've had a history of doing some really, really ridiculous things. That came to like there was a point in time I remember where they were like doxing the church of Gumayusi's family. It's like, what on earth are we doing here? Like this is just sickness. This is sickness. And to that degree, it's like I noticed. It's like the last couple of months. It's like the fan sentiment around Gumayusi is like as if you're not allowed to criticize him. It's like, oh, we need to protect him. This is a guy that we need to protect. I guess it's just the reaction to the vitriol from people like this, that it just becomes more extreme, because the reaction to the extreme is to react also extreme on the other side in terms of the correction. So it seems to be just a back and forth pull. But I do think I agree with your sentiments. Like T1 is as good as they have been. In that game 3, it's like that's like the hallmark example. It's like they blind pick Silas in a game where there's nothing. Koki Vi is showing, and then Gen.G just are capable of pivoting to Koki mid into Silas and slam Ziggs on 5 into the Xayah, making the Xayah just suffer in a game where she countered the Vi. And you can look at T1 and say, wow, they're all playing comfort champions. They have insane win ratio on all of these. Nico for Keria, Xayah for Gumayusi, Silas for, of course, Faker. But in that context, it's just a piss poor draft. And I don't know how they figured that out, because in the end, they have gotten to this point because they've stuck to their guns and picked what made sense for them. They beat How Alive because of that. They did super well at the internationals because of that. So finding the balance between that is super difficult, and I don't know how they're going to manage that, because I think if they are going to beat Gen.G in playoffs at some point, it needs to be in 3. I think if it goes to game 4 or 5, I think they will have less and less and less chances. It will just be tougher and tougher to beat them as the more the series goes because of Fearless.
Yeah, I looked it up. What I said was right, but the correct thing was there's 2 different like subcategories on like DC Inside or whatever. One's called T1 Gallery. Apparently they're the fans of Guma. Then the other one's called T1 Cheering Gallery, and they're like the Smash faction.
You said shooting gallery. That's why I fucking laughed.
You can see what in my brain. It sounds similar. It sounds like the same shit, doesn't it? I know. But here's what I find so weird about this topic. Even as someone who earlier this year, I would have given Smash more a try. I thought he looked really good in when they brought him in. The problem I have is this. One, this isn't even vaguely like, panic station, smash and break this glass in case of emergency and pull out smash. Like, no, like, it's not at that point yet. Like Guma, he doesn't fucking almost win 2 tournaments and then come home and he's already kicked out the team because he had 1 loss in a series. And by the way, before that, he was also on carrying some of the games where you're beating the Hanwha Life of the world and the Gen.Gs of the world. So 1, he hasn't failed enough yet that he needs to be taken out. And then 2, the only angle I can think of if you're a Smash fan goes like this. Yeah, but T1 didn't win MSI and EWC. And it's like, yeah, but Guma did play pretty fucking well. And I've seen Smash play in LCK. I don't know that he'd actually like carry fucking MSI. Like, yeah, sure, he didn't get the chance to do it, but I think it's pretty unreasonable to act like he would have won those tournaments. So I just feel like it's a rare example, Yamato. It's not even that I'm mad at them for like getting upset. There's times you can get upset. I just don't get what you're upset about. You know what I mean? Like in this scenario, like, yeah, I just don't get it, mate. It just doesn't make sense to me. And then also it tied into, I saw there was other ways this drama spilled over, which is because Cadril commented on the thing with the wreaths and said he made the classic mistake of saying that thing where it's like, people who did this aren't the real T1 fans. Anytime you get into a discussion of who the real fans are, you're always going to get all the worst fans come out, mate, because like, even though I know what you mean colloquially, is what you mean is normal T1 fans aren't noticed like this. They wouldn't do that. There's extreme people, but they're just going to take that as like, as you saw here, who the fuck are you? How can you judge who the real fans are? Like, hey, you aren't even Korean. It's going to be all that classic stuff. So I saw he got all the backlash as well. I saw it because remember, Cadril has tried that very dangerous game of trying to like essentially keep all these wild beasts fucking happy without them attacking him, Yamato. So on the one hand, in the morning, he goes out and he feeds a nice roast duck to an alligator that's in his backyard. Don't eat me though, just eat the alligator, eat the roast duck. Okay. Then next, he goes over to the other part of his estate and he feeds like a hungry fucking tiger that's growling. He feeds that steak, just eat the steak. Don't kill me though, just eat the steak. And he tries to keep, I made this joke before, that like the Venn diagram of fans of Cadril, it explains why he gets so many crazy dramas, because he's simultaneously courting T1 fans, Fnatic fans, Reckless fans, and then his own fans. Like, mate, that is a crazy powder keg of like, you put 1 foot wrong and you are going to be Cadril when he gets in drama. It's like, you remember that scene that everyone uses the gif from on Twitter from Pirates of the Caribbean, where that British guy knows that he's fucked and they're shooting all the cannonballs at his ship. And so he just walks through the ship like, la, 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 and he's walking through as all the stuff's exploding around him. You know the one I'm on about, where it's blown up all the stairs. And because he knows he's fucked anyway, he's just like, oh, gives a fuck. He just walks through like, la, la, la. That's like Cadril going on his own subreddit every day, mate. Like, oh, what fires are there today? Which one of the rebels burning down now in my little town here? Because, mate, these T1 fans, he can't get a break. On the one hand, sometimes he successfully feeds the alligator and they're on his side and he's got a massive fan base. But fuck it, every time he says anything even mild about T1, because the one this reminds me of, Matt, was that one last year where they went so hard on him, T1 fans, just because he said like he wouldn't have voted for T1 as like team of the year. He didn't even say something like they can't be allowed to win it or whatever. Like, it was a fan vote, wasn't it? Like, he just sort of said like he wouldn't have voted for them or something, and people went mad at him. So amazingly, even though I'm sure Cadril was like, finally EWC is over, back to being popular. Now the T1 fans are on his ass again, bro. Like, he can't get a break.
I was like, the post was pretty funny. It reminded me of the manifesto. Remember the manifesto?
Yes. The link one.
I was like the manifesto style is just too funny. But at least at least that it did seem like the sentiment around this community could recognize that this is like, oh, this is fucking odd, because I think these gallery ones are very, 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 very strange. That's for sure.
The joke is, I actually my slip up is like a Freudian slip up. They should rename it to the T1 shooting gallery, because all they're looking for is their next target to just fire all the fucking toxic shit out. You know, like.
Bro, honestly, that's how it seemed like. You know, it's like, oh, they lost here, and Gumayusi didn't look good on Xayah. Oh, let's release all of these flowers. They are rotting away. Things have been too good. We need to find. We need to. This is our vouchers are expiring. We need to send them. It seemed like they had to they had like a deadline. They just needed to complain about.
And there was another thing I wanted to ask you about, because I don't know if you saw this. I saw this on Dom's stream. Did you see the thing Dom showed where T1, mate, they've gone too far now. I'm calling them out on this one, Yamato. They've gone too far, right? They've sold a fan service to their fans that, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to speculate here, and obviously I'll be very careful legally. I just don't believe it's real. This just looks fake to me. They have this thing, did you see it, where they have a thing called T1 Pop service?
No.
Right, watch. Oh, I'll link you here. Just go to let me see how many minutes to go through. Okay, on this Dom video, just go to 3:30 or something. You'll see it on screen. Basically, they have a service in Korea where you pay a membership fee, and through an app, you can actually chat. And they claim one-on-one message T1 players, by the way. As in, and you pay a different amount to message all the players. They're implying, Yamato, you can one-on-one message Faker if you pay them each month, and he will read your message. The problem I have with this is this, Yamato. Again, look, I don't know this is pure speculation. I know nothing about how this is implemented. I'm not Korean. I've never used the service. But here's the problem I have, Yamato. When you consider how many hours a day Faker plays League of Legends, I refuse to believe that he is the one who ever even reads your message or replies to it. I don't think he even does a Donald Trump, where if you don't know, Donald Trump, suppose he doesn't type his own tweets. He has a girl where he just tells her tweet this now, right? And she sort of like a secretary writes down his tweet and then presses send, right? Well, the joke is, I don't even think that's what's happening here. Because again, Faker's playing League of Legends 14 hours a day and then living his life. To me, I'm sorry, I'm just going to go ahead and guess. This looks to me like I've got some bad news for some of you boys if you all fucking go on that OnlyFans shit. You know, on OnlyFans where you can message the girl, yeah, that isn't the girl you're messaging. She hires a guy and he's the one who just writes the shit back to you, because at the end of the day, it's just text. So in that scenario, as long as he can write the right thing, you're just tricked into thinking that. I think that's what this looks like, bro. This just looks like if you pay however much, $3 a month, you can message someone who will pretend to be Faker and go, thank you, I will give good games if you cheer for me. And they're like, no, thanks for the $3, dickhead. I just refuse to, but there's no way Faker ever checks this up, bro. What do you think of this? What do you think, bro? It's crazy.
It's also, it's like, who would believe it? Because imagine just the scale.
I don't know.
Imagine just the scale. Imagine T1 fans, if I, even from myself, if I could contact Faker and write him, it's like, what would you think about this draft? Who was here? And he would answer, it's like, yeah, we actually, we practice this and we want to play this. It's like, if I could get that access, I would pay for it. But the thing is the scale. It's like, I can't imagine how many people, it's like, if we just speculate, how many people are going to
1,000 people or something? Yeah.
As even 1,000, it's already ridiculous.
It's a lot of people, yeah, it's a lot.
That's a whole full-time job to answer 1,000 people. So from that degree, it just doesn't make any sense. One-to-one messaging feature, real-time live chats. This has to be, there has to be some legalese, in terms of the marketing of this that's wrong, because it's just completely unfeasible. Even if they wanted to, how do you do this? How? It's impossible. I wouldn't be surprised if it's just one dude, that gets hired to keep track of it. Maybe they even do it so cynically they just do AI, there's AI, bots that do messaging too, who knows? Imagine that it comes out that the person just that does the messaging says something fucked up, and then it's a scandal,
What if it's yeah, exactly, you message Faker, he's like, fuck your mother. What the fuck? That'd be at the end of the world, wouldn't it? I know, against T1, it'd be mental, wouldn't it? I know. Let's hope no rogue employee gets in there, exactly, that sounds sus as fuck. Also, I'm with you as well, Bro, how many people have signed up to this? There's just no way it's possible. Also, this just sounds so... T1, this is the most cynical thing any esports orgs maybe ever done. Because you are tricking your fans, as far as I can tell, into thinking they get to talk to the players. And they almost certainly aren't. And in this scenario, it's like some carnival shit, like, roll up, talk to the mysterious faker himself. Only $10 a head. Like, give me a break. And then it's just like a guy with a mask on, like, hello, I am faking. Like, wait, you don't even sound Korean. No, I am. I just have a cold right now. Like, anyway, pay $10 to continue the conversation. Like, what they should do, Yamato, is that, you know what? I'm going to give advice to Joe Marsh and T1. Make it even more cynical. Don't make it that you pay for access. Make it time-based. You need it to feel, Yamato, like back in the day when you played like an arcade machine. You know when you die because they're really hard? It's the intimidation of that countdown before you lose the chance to continue. It's like you got like 30 seconds to put the coin in, where it's like... And you're like, mate, the panic that puts in you, it makes you really quickly get the money out. Like, fuck, I gotta keep playing. Like, just do that. Like, Faker, like, yeah, I'd love to say that, but pause. It'd be like, you have run out of credit. Please insert 100 more. Like, what was he gonna say? What was Faker gonna say? Like, and anyway, I think the secret to winning worlds is insert more money to talk to Faker. Like, just be more cynical, bro. Why not, mate? You know what they should really do? Oh, I've just figured out the real genius one, Yamato. T1, if you want to actually be millionaires, I've just figured out how you do it. Forget T1 pop messaging the players. Claim that I get to one-on-one message Joe Marsh and tell him my complaints about the roster. Bro, I figured it out. That's genius. That's genius. And even better, Yamato, because we're going to use AI in our speculated version, we're going to use one of these modern AIs that has that fucked up thing where they just affirm everything you say and tell you that you're awesome. So no matter what roster move you tell imaginary Joe Marsh on my T1 pop art, right? If you message him like, no, fucking Smash should be in instead of Guma, it just, no matter what you say, it just replies like, yeah, that's actually good advice. You're clearly a keen viewer of the game who has a very high level macro understanding. And you know a lot about the AD character, but the joke is if you say the same thing about, yeah, Guma should stay in, he's really good. It's like, you're right, we should be loyal to Guma. He is part of the OFGK group. No matter what you say, it just affirms it and then you just pay him money. I think that's the idea. Let the Nutter fan message Joe Marsh, imaginary AI Joe Marsh goes.
It kind of reminds me of the like when Fnatic did this thing where it's like become a co-owner of Fnatic.
Oh yeah, true.
And it's like, what kind of proof? Like, do I get this on paper? Do I get a stock? You get a T-shirt that says.
What does that feel like when they say that? I know what you mean, because the problem with that is you're never going to be like with Sam Matthews behind the team or in the box, are you? Though, so it just feels like that shit, Yamato, where your girlfriend buys like that thing in Scotland, like 1 square foot, and it's like, in Scotland. It feels like that, doesn't it? Like, am I really though? Isn't this piece of paper really all this was for? It feels like that. I know what you mean. It does feel like that. True.
It's definitely up there.
By the way, I have to say though, look, I won't rewatch that series ever. It wasn't a classic. Like I say, it was one team smashing the other one early in the game. But I'll tell you what, it was kind of exciting though, man. Like it kind of made me hyped. Like that was essentially like the equivalent of like a UFC match where they really do just fucking punch each other's head in. Like it was just rock'em sock'em robots. It was fucking sick. Like these two teams both seem like, there's the other thing that, this is why I also don't get the overreaction, Yamato. The way T1 played super aggro early game, and by the way, even though they lost some of these games, they were having chances and like getting kills. Back and forth. That made me think they really believe they're better than Gen.G. Like they didn't look scared in this game, mate. They were going for everything. You could even argue on the game they won, the game won. Like, mate, people like Kerrier are just playing big balls League of Legends now, mate. Like, he was just fucking going all the way in. Like, he doesn't give a fuck. Like, they actually say, I agree. They also seem really coordinated, by the way. T1 as a team now is doing, like you say, the hive mind thing. If one person goes in, they just go in, mate. They just commit. I actually love that. It's really entertaining to watch.
It's so good for the region and just the league that you have like these, teams that are essentially like dragons battling each other. Just they have like a reason to practice for, a reason to wake up for, like it's very, very easy to find motivation when you're so close and, you've shown that you can beat them and it's possible. And there is like fruits to your labor because it's like, even after that, it's like the 2 series, both teams played after that. They just made easy work of Nongshim, KT, easy peasy, easy work. But the main story is like T1 and Gen.G, them fighting against each other. I'm happy that Gen.G like have adversity because it's like how Life have their problems, right? It doesn't seem to be, any solution anywhere close. And then, the mid table has just like disappeared completely in terms of their competitive nature and how close they could be with the top end. It's because even when they play against How Alive, it's like, oh, maybe they can steal a game or whatever. But even then, it's like, oh, How Alive just win because they're individually better. But the previous split, we had the situation where like T1 and T1 was figuring themselves out. I think Gen.G also in winter, they were figuring themselves out. Like they weren't really there yet. And it's interesting to see like the active development real time of all of these teams. Because by contrast, we look at LPL, it's like it's all over the place. And we didn't mention some of the teams, right? But we could have talked about JDG, them replacing like half the roster and just being in complete disarray. Weibo Gaming, whatever. It's like every team within LPL is just going through management issues and problems. And I think this is like a really good year for the LCK as a whole, because I think there is very little things that I would want to do differently in terms of the GMing, besides maybe fighting harder to keep pace here or whatever. It also got me to think, the fact that at one point CV Max was fired or removed, but maybe he just wanted to leave. He's like, fuck that shit, because now he's in Damwon, his life seems better, because now JDG is just a mess. He just left pace behind us. Like, oh, see you.
Oh, by the way, this upcoming week is the week for Hanwha Life. If people don't know, they play T1 and Gen.G in this upcoming week. And I have to say, Yamato, I need probably at least one win and some very good games, at least for Hanwha, because I know what you mean. What the real bummer of Hanwha Life is, at the moment, they clearly are a third place behind T1 and Gen.G. But as you say, if they play anyone else, even the other teams that used to be good, the KTs and the Longsham, they murk those teams too easily, bro. So unfortunately, at the moment, they're in, like, in theory, the worst spot. They can't win the LCK. They probably won't win Worlds, but they're just better than everyone else they play. And so, I don't know, this week, I have to see something. I need, like, a turnaround. I need, like I said, give me a big win. Even if it's over Gen.G, give me, like, one big win where everyone plays great. Because when you do play against the lesser teams, you forget all the problems. You see, like, Viper having Smurf series. You see fucking Peanut pulling out a nice game here and there. Zeus is still really good, but it's just, I know what you mean. This summer should have been so much more hype. Like, if this really was like the three big teams all getting wins on each other, rock, paper, scissors scenario, and then you'd also had like the real KT and Nongshim where they were like, they could get upset wins, they could win a game off you. That would be a way more hype split. This split at the moment, it's basically, I'm mainly just watching T1 and Gen.G waiting for them to battle again. That's all I'm doing at the moment.
Very good for the format. We are getting plenty of it. Because if I had to watch like Gen.G play Bro and DRX and DNF play T1, I would slowly go insane. So God bless this format. It's a good one that we get the matchups, and I don't think they're losing any hype at all. It's like every week we have matches to look forward to, and yes. I'm also hyped for the Hanwha Life matches. I'm with you. I need to see more. I really need to see more. I want to see Zeka step up to the plate. I want them to figure out what makes sense for Peanut and Delight to play, because currently they seem to be out of sorts. Right now, like Jungle and Support seems to be very dynamic roles in terms of what you need to play, especially with the nerfs to like Alistar and Braum. You need to be capable of playing like the range supports and pivot in and out of things. And I don't think this is like the biggest comfort for Delight and Peanut, but if they can find like a structure that makes sense, Hanwha Life can be good again. Because there's been periods where Delight and Peanut have underperformed.
Absolutely.
Like there's been periods where they underperformed and then went on to win against Gen.G in the finals in a meta that seemed to be perfect for Gen.G with the AD carries mid, with the Tristana and the Koki, so forth. So Hanwha Life is just like a sleeping dragon. Like things can shift very fast, and it's easy to forget that there was a period where they were clearly like the best team in the world. Sure, it was close that they lost some of those best of fives, but at some point, if you keep winning those game fives, you get credit for it, because in the end they did beat all of these teams, especially Gen.G twice. So Hanwha Life have it in them for sure.
See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or be a pleb and don't.